Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, HALAL, to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to the occupants out there pushing the sincerity and the truth and the sound doctrine. All right, this is going to be a quick video. It's a post put up by GMS Awakening 144. Actually, one of my favorites. Actually, one of my favorite scriptures. All right, Hebrews 11:1. It says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." So it's kind of like we had we've had groups in the past, try to insult Great Millstone about being faith-based Israelites. I'm not entirely sure, and never have been, and actually never will be entirely sure as to how, or not really sure at all, as to how that would be an insult, right? Because faith is all we have at this point, right? Do we see the Most High for our own eyes? A lot of you may say, "Yeah, I seen him," because there's so many doctors out here. A lot of you may say, "Yeah, I seen him." You know what I mean? And which I don't know what to say to you after that. If you say anything like that, if you're saying something like that, I can't talk to you. All right, but we've seen the works, right? But you still need faith. Faith is all we got. Faith is fear of the Lord, man. Right? So these are things of things hoped for, all right, and not seen physically. So, calling somebody a faith-based Israelite is really a good thing, to be honest. I mean, I would say you complimented that person. For calling somebody faith-based, you complimented that person. I mean, it's just like you had other groups out there call us snow dummies for being out there in the snow. The word of we're okay. I'm not understanding, man. The scriptures say be instant in season, out of season. In season being warm, out of season being cold. When you put those, put two and two together, put in season and out of season together, that's all year round. Is a little bit of snow going to stop the word of the Lord? Is a little bit of rain going to stop the word of the Lord? Is a little bit of cold or heat going to stop the word of the Lord? No, man. I'm not understanding, man. Well, why? Where are these so-called insults coming from? Because a lot of you other Israelite groups, man, you're carnal. Okay, you're carnal, and that's just what it is, right? Faith-based Israelites. How is that an insult? I don't know. Anyway, let's read on down from that. All right, to Hebrews 11:2. It says, "For by it the elders obtained a good report." It says, "Through faith." This is where I wanted it. It says, "Through faith we understand, right, that the worlds were framed by the word of God." Right. It says, so that things which are seen were not were not made of things which do appear. Okay, so like the earth, right? And the way the earth was formed, it's pretty much the same thing, but you got worlds. We know worlds have a few different definitions, right? So, I mean, you put two and two together. That again, this is where faith comes in. This is why, yes, we are faith-based Israelites. What's wrong with that? It's better than being you. Anything but you. Anything than being a carnal person, man. I'll take anything, but to be a carnal person, right? As long as I'm not you, I'm cool. All right. So, like I said, I'm not gonna keep this video very long. Let's go on to Philippians 2:12. "Wherefore, my beloved, all right, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, all right, but now much more in my absence." Okay, it says, "Work out your own salvation, all right, with fear and trembling." Right. If even Yahawashi, he was here, doing miracles, and people still didn't believe, right? So it only makes sense while you have followers actually looking looking at this man doing miracles, and it's just like, wow, this man is like otherworldly. Well, now he's gone. Now your faith really needs to increase because he's not here to provide these crazy miraculous miracles for you, right? Now you really need faith. All right, it only makes sense why your faith has to elevate, even without. This is why we're more in the time of faith than in the time of the law. All right, is the law still relevant? Yes, it absolutely is. This is why you have to try the best of your ability to keep whatever you can keep, like such as not eating pork. You can't really uh you can't really avoid eating pork technically because you have a lot of preservatives that's from pork. You know what I mean? You have a lot of, stuff that's cooked with pork, like turkey, chicken maybe cooked with pork, like in the same grease or in the same, you know what I mean? So we're going to go off either way. But I mean blatantly doing it. Avoid blatantly eating pork. You don't have to eat that stuff. All right? You can avoid, you know, getting pork and beans, right? You can avoid that. If you're doing that, you're just blatantly doing it. It says big as the label says pork on it. You're just blatantly doing it at that point, right? But you can avoid that, right? You can avoid committing adultery. Well, like, again, on a certain degree. I'm talking, but as far as blatantly doing it, yes, you can avoid it. You didn't know, but blatantly doing it, knowing that this woman has a husband, and on a woman side, you got a husband and you just blatantly just doing it, right? You could avoid this stuff, right? So yes, faith based. Faith is all we got, man. What else do we got, man? Right? So anyway, just wanted to do a quick video on that. That's literally one of my favorite scriptures, right? So anyway, giving all praise, honor, glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RACHAH,